diplomatic isolation of Paul Kagame. Congolese blood speaks. Thank you, dear viewers of Good Morning DRC TV. In any case, thank you. This is a morning news today. This is the effort we are beginning to make because we understood that we must have at least 2 rounds of news per day. And today we are going to discuss the issue related to Rwanda diplomatic isolation. Rwanda was once a country very admired by the world until recently. Today, Rwanda is very poorly regarded by the rest of the world. Basically, its commitment to destroying our country, its commitment to attacking another country, its commitment to committing war crimes, crimes against humanity on our country's soil. And yet Rwanda was able to benefit from the sympathy of the rest of the world because it experienced genocide in 1994. And that is how every April 7th of each year, Rwanda now commemorates the genocide. Paul Kagame was able to create a memorial where the skulls of those who were mown down in 1994 were displayed. But how can the same country that experienced genocide, the same actors who organized such ceremonies in Rwanda, be the real perpetrators of crimes elsewhere? Logic would lead us to question that approach and entertain the thought that they may be hiding something. Because if they're the victims of such atrocities, they would be the first defender of peace. Paul Kagame would be the first to oppose the shedding of human blood. He would be the first to refuse to allow killings. For people to take up arms to kill humans, the citizens of a nation. But unfortunately, it's the opposite today with Rwanda, and this isn't the first time on Congolese soil. It isn't the second time on Congolese soil. It isn't the third time on Congolese soil. It's already 4 times since, if not after the genocide. The first time, according to our little knowledge, was in 1997 when they entered with the AFDO. They took up arms, they massacred, they killed in refugee camps. They killed, they buried women alive, and even joined the RCD. That's the first time. The second time with CNDP, they entered, they killed, they punished, they did everything. They caused great suffering amongst the people, and those they could not kill, they chased them away. The third time is in 2012 with the demand for the application of the March 23rd agreement. They killed so many people. They committed crimes, war crimes, crimes against humanity. But all these crimes remain unpunished to this day. During all this time, no country in the world could believe the argument that this country, which experienced genocide, is attacking another country and committing genocide on our soil. No one could understand, no one could believe, and we understand each other today, especially with Joseph Kayl's current position, and it makes it very easy for us to understand that Joseph Kabila and Paul Kagame were in perfect agreement. They were both serving the same cause. Others said that Congo was not ruled by Congo, but by Rwanda. There was no leader in Congo. It was Paul Kagame who ruled both Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. People said that. And so during all this time, we had not heard of any real action to demonstrate to the world that what we were experiencing are atrocities that would be qualified as genocide. Paul Kagame is responsible for what Congo is experiencing today, and yet there was no one to speak for Congo at the Concert of Nations. The Democratic Republic of Congo's argument didn't get through because people couldn't. Those who went to defend the DRC couldn't be so poignant, so relevant, fearing that they would be viewed negatively by their own president. That is Joseph Kabila, who was here because he was clearly in agreement with Rwanda. You'll remember this, and when the former director, general of RTNC, along with the other makers, were sacked simply because they tried to take a stance against Rwanda. It took Felix Antoine Tshisekedi to become president of the Democratic Republic of Congo for real action to begin on the diplomatic level. Clear, unvarnished accusations will be made through the concerts of nations. This discourse had to be built. Now, momentum had to be created. Commitment was needed. determination was needed. It wasn't easy, even for us here, for the citizens, the Congolese, to understand the President of the Republic's approach. It was difficult for him to be right. We thought as if he didn't have or didn't understand the situation, and that's how it went. And today, the whole world has finally understood that Rwanda is truly responsible. It's Rwanda that is on Congolese soil. FDRS pretext is just a false pretext. The pretext that the Berlin Conference was poorly conducted is a false pretext. The real reason is the exploitation of minerals in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The real reason is this attempt to occupy the lands of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and this through multiple strategies. On the one hand, with a deportation policy, it is necessary to overthrow. In any case, it is necessary to send back, if not dump many Rwandan citizens onto Congolese soil so that there are more of them. One day, they will impose themselves, and they have built this strategy for the long time. On the other hand, in any case, push for the taking up of arms so that the natives would flee their entities, and we have the space to exploit the minerals. And that's what they've been doing all this time. And they go so far as to sign contracts with other countries here, the countries of the European Union, so that these countries can come to exploit the resources that Rwanda doesn't have, and that Rwanda will steal from the DRC, and they will commit themselves like receivers of the minerals of the Democratic Republic of Congo via Rwanda. And today the world has finally understood. We have pleaded at the United Nations Security Council, as many times we have pleaded with the European Union, as many times we have pleaded with Belgium and France. We don't talk about it in several countries. And in the end, people have found out that the Democratic Republic of Congo is right. And I'm sure you followed different conferences in different places where we have taken our case. What am I saying? The concert, which was planned in Paris to support orphan children who are victims of conflicts in the Democratic Republic of Congo, conflicts caused by Rwanda, a concert conceived by the Congolese. Here, Gims and the others and the Rwandans organized themselves to say no to it. It was out of the question because on April 7th, we will commemorate the genocide. The interim relief judges had to reject this decision. And here comes the 7th, the date on which Rwanda commemorates the genocide. This time, it's unusual. Unusual. In previous years, every country in the world made plans to attend. Every country in the world was represented, but in 2025, there were much less countries that attended. Why? Because we finally understood that Kagame's game is behind the genocide. He's taking advantage of it to commit other war crimes, to commit other genocides on other soil here in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Here's what Paul Kagame said. The silence, the absence, the forgetting of the commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi Kibukwi 31 is surprisingly not a political event. It is a time of remembrance, unity, and renewal of promise. What kind of promise? Never again. Never again in Rwanda. Never again in other countries around the world in reality. That's it. Yet some nations, he continues, have chosen to distance themselves from it, influenced by unfounded narratives, implicating Rwanda in regional conflicts without proof and without consideration for our history. How can he say without proof? And yet he himself claims that if we are on Congolese soil, it is because the Congo does not disarm or neutralize the FDLR, and that is why we are there. If we are in the Congo, it is because we must exploit. We signed the agreements with the European Union and all that, but the Rwandan soldiers are arrested on Congolese soil. When Congo was occupied, it was with the Rwandan military. They entered in their uniforms. United Nations experts were able to demonstrate a few days before that the Congo is now occupied by Rwanda. The stories here that are reciting, that are presenting this story, are not the Democratic Republic of Congo. Today you cannot, Even if you are used to lying, you are not going to lie to the entire world. It is this version of yesterday's lies that no longer works. Mr. Paul Kagame changed the narrative because that one no longer works. You can understand what Congo is going through today. This is what Rwanda has experienced, only 1,000 times more. If in Rwanda we can talk about genocide, but in Congo we must look for another concept above, if not beyond genocide. You killed, you really killed in the DRC, Mr. Kagame. No Congolese will be able to forgive you. You have burdened families. You have made people suffer. Please don't name your child Paul Kagame, because that name reminds Congolese of all the atrocities he has committed in the DRC. And wherever that name come up in DRC, people remember the evil man who caused the suffering of millions. Kagame has many enemies here in Congo, so we ask ourselves, what did he do this for? For what purpose? Money, money, minerals, money. And today you are isolated. Those who supported you yesterday understood that in any case, things are not going well. We cannot support someone like that. You are too cynical, too cynical, too cynical. We would now wonder about the real perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide. Who are the real perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide? Who are the real victims? Because if you were a victim, you wouldn't commit such an act in another country, in another territory. Who is the real perpetrator? Charles Onana, my colleague, you are absolutely right. Through your editorials, you know how to name Paul Kagame and the rest as the real perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide. Over time, we realized that you are not wrong, and those who tried to condemn you in France, and France today has finally understood. Dear colleagues, Onana, you are not wrong. Rwanda, its actors today are clearly the perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide. Otherwise, he wouldn't accept seeing bloodshed in other countries, not just any country, but Rwanda neighbor, the Democratic Republic of Congo. In any case, thank you. This is the morning round of news that allows you to understand wherever you go that Paul Kagame's game is understood by the whole world, and many of his friends have turned their backs on him, and many countries have not gone to participate in the commemoration of the genocide, which has lasted 31 years. Kibukwi 31. Thank you. As we said, starting today, we will begin to make this effort in the morning to bring information and in the evening as well. Thank you very much because you don't go elsewhere. Thank you for your messages that know how to encourage us, and that's this stage. We stop there and say thank you. Goodbye. See you tonight. Yeah.